Hi, it's Elise here at Bowman Library in our teen section with a whole new teen book spotlight. So April is National Humor Month, so why not take a look at some of the books that we have here that are laugh out loud, humor filled, realistic. I think there's some fantasy in here. We have a whole bunch of different things. So let's get started. So our first one is An Abundance of Katherines by John Green. This is one of his early ones. So if you love John Green and you haven't read this one, you're missing out. So Colin, who is a child prodigy who just graduated from high school, finds himself broken up with his girlfriend named Katherine. And this Katherine just happens to be one of the 19 girlfriends he has had, and they have all been named Katherine. His best friend Hassan decides that the best thing that Colin can do at this moment is to go on a road trip. And that way he and his Colin, they get in the car, they start to have fun, and they somehow find themselves in this small town of Gutshot, Tennessee. After being persuaded to stay, Colin and Hassan get jobs recording the oral histories of the local residents. And Colin soon starts to ponder what his role is going to be in history while trying to figure out who he is as a person and if he can actually predict how long relationships will actually last with this mathematical theorem he's been working on. If you like your humor with some philosophical thinking in the typical John Green style, you will not be disappointed with An Abundance of Katherine. Going Bovine. So Cameron has never really been the center of attention in his family, but all that changes when he ends up in the hospital and he is diagnosed with mad cow disease. In the hospital, when he's just laying in the bed, he has what he thinks is maybe real. That he has this vision of this angel named Dulce who sends him on this quest to find a cure that will save the world. Or it could just very well be like a vivid hallucination brought on by his mad cow disease, but he's not entirely sure. So he decides he thinks it's real. So he leaves the hospital and he recruits his hospital roommate, who is a Mexican-American dwarf, and they start to go on this epic road trip. And you will be questioning how much of this is actually real and how much of this is all in Cameron's head. This is based on Don Quixote. You know, if you like your humor filled with a good dose of satire, pick up this award-winning book. This is Going Bovine. The Way You Make Me Feel. So Clara is a 16-year-old who loves life and it's all about coming up with the ultimate pranks. When one of these pranks go too far, though, and she finds herself in epic trouble, her father steps in and he forces her to spend the entire summer working in his food truck instead of going on all of her vacations. Then, if that wasn't bad enough, the person she's going to be spending all this time with in the small, cramped food truck is her archenemy, Rose. Things do not get off to a great start, but the two girls soon start to realize they have more in common than what they think, and they start to spend a lot of time actually talking and listening to each other, especially since they are trapped in a food truck together, and they kind of start to become friends. This amazing humorous summer story is filled with friendship, family, and even a little bit of romance, and it is such a fun read. This is The Way You Make Me Feel. My Lady Jane. So this is kind of a little bit of a complicated story, but it does pay off. So in real life, the characters that are in this story were real life characters. They were alive back in the 16th century, but in this version, they are reimagined and brought back to life, still in 16th century England. So in this fantastical version of Europe, people are in two groups. They are either those who can shapeshift or those who cannot. Those who cannot think those who actually can are evil, and they decide they are going to declare war on these people and they want to take them out. So there's all of that going on, and on the side you have the king, you have King Edward, who is someone is trying to poison him, and then you have Jane, and Jane finds herself, completely wrapped up in court intrigue, which just feels like crazy and wacky adventures and characters and events. if you love your humor filled with a good dose of fantasy and some, historical reimaging, then you will love this take on European history. There are others in this series that are based on different female individuals that are in different times in history. So good. This is My Lady Jane. Winger. So if you like some pretty crude humor, Winger might be right up your alley. So Ryan, who is nicknamed Winger due to his position on the school's rugby team, goes to an elite private school where he is a junior even though he's only 14 years old, making him kind of really immature for the other people he's supposed to be spending time with. He finds himself stuck living in what is known as Opportunity Hall. Basically, it's this residence where they place all of the troublemakers together, and it is there that he finds himself introduced to things like poker, drinking, and other forbidden school activities. This book is very realistic, and it does not sugarcoat anything, and there are some pretty laugh-out-loud, awkward moments that you will be squirming in your seat as you are reading this, and the ending is pretty explosive. Like, you won't see it coming. It will totally catch you off guard. This realistic humor filled, and there's a touch of sports in there. And there is a sequel to this one, so once you're finished with this one, you will want to know what happens next to Ryan. So this is Winger. And our last one is Our Crazy European Chick. So Perry's parents are forcing him to take their awkward foreign exchange student from Lithuania named Gobi to prom. Even though Perry has no interest in going to prom, especially as that is the night that his band has their first real live gig. But never disappointing his parents, especially his father, he agrees to this, and he finds himself in the car that night with Gobi going to the prom. But things take a really super fast turn when he finds out that Gobi is really a trained assassin. And instead of going to the prom, she has a job that night that involves killing 5 separate individuals, and she is going to hold Perry hostage so he can be her getaway driver. So this night, instead of going to the prom, is now filled with explosions, shootings, stabbings, crazy car chases, like right out of a Jason Bourne, James Bond movie. And Perry decides he's going to do whatever it is that he needs to just to get through this night. But he also then starts to find himself developing this pretty epic backbone. And if you like your action interlaced with some humor, make sure to check this one out because, this book moves so fast, you'll be turning the page as fast as you can once you're done with it. This is Our Crazy European Chick. So, these are just 6 of the books that we have here at Bowman that are filled with humor, laugh out loud moments, but they're all a little bit different because let's get real. Like, humor means different things to different people. So we encourage you to come on down, check out one of these books, or we can help you find whatever perfect humor-filled book you are looking for. I hope you tune back next week when we have a whole new teen book spotlight, and have a great week.